In an era when the world was still being forged from smoke and fire, when empires were born and died under the blows of bronze swords and iron spears, a new power arose. It did not clang with weapons on the fields of battle, nor did it erect cyclopean walls. This power was invisible, silent, and contained within the greatest treasure of humanity, the mind. The Iron Age became not just an era of a new metal, it became the cradle for geniuses whose ideas, like guiding stars, showed the way for future civilizations. They were architects of thought, engineers of the spirit, and strategists whose battlefields stretched from the depths of the cosmos to the recesses of the human soul. Their legacy is not the ruins of ancient cities, but the very foundation of our modern world. Let us look at 5 titans of this epoch, beginning our countdown with the one who first truly mapped the universe, Hipparchus of Nicaea, the genius who charted the heavens. At the 5th spot on our list stands a man whose gaze was fixed further than that of any king or commander. While others divided the land, Hipparchus of Nicaea divided the sky. He did not command armies, but his work gave humanity a weapon against its greatest enemy, the unknown. His was a genius of order brought to the chaos of the shimmering stars. Imagine a world without GPS, without maps, and even without a precise understanding of where you are. Hipparchus changed that forever. He took the disordered canvas of the night sky and imposed a system upon it similar to the one we use today, latitude and longitude. He created the first detailed star catalog in history, describing the position and brightness of more than 850 stars. This was not merely a list. It was a scientific document, a census of the cosmos that allowed future generations to notice changes, the birth of new stars, or the disappearance of old ones. But his greatest discovery was almost mystical for its time. Observing the sky for decades and comparing his data with the records of the ancient Babylonians, he noticed something incredible. The stars were slowly but steadily shifting. He had discovered the precession of the Earth's axis. For those unfamiliar with astronomy, imagine the Earth as a giant spinning top. As it spins, its axis doesn't remain fixed but wobbles slightly, tracing a cone in space. This cycle takes nearly 26,000 years. To discover this phenomenon without telescopes, armed only with a keen eye and a brilliant mind, is a feat bordering on a miracle. To perform all these calculations, Hipparchus effectively laid the foundations of a new science, trigonometry. He gave humanity a language to speak with the cosmos, Buddha, the one who conquered the inner world. From the infinity without, we turn to the infinity within. In 4th place is a man who built no empires of stone, but created an empire of the spirit that has encompassed billions of minds. Prince Siddhartha Gautama, who became the Buddha, was a spiritual genius who undertook the most daring of all journeys, deep into human consciousness. Unlike conquerors, he sought not new lands, but the answer to a fundamental question: why do people suffer? His teaching, Buddhism, is not a religion in the conventional sense, with gods and rituals. It is more a practical psychology, a map of the human mind. He asserted that the root of all suffering lies in our own desires, attachments, and ignorance. And most importantly, he offered a path to liberation from this suffering, the Eightfold Path, a system of ethical conduct, mental discipline, and wisdom. His genius lay in the universality of his discovery. He did not speak of salvation in an afterlife, but proposed achieving a state of peace and clarity, nirvana, here and now. His ideas spread not by fire and sword, but by the power of his words and example, crossing borders, languages, and cultures. He showed that the greatest battles are not fought on fields of war, but within ourselves, and that victory in this battle is available to everyone. Confucius, the thinker who designed a civilization. If Buddha taught how to achieve inner peace, the genius who takes 3rd place dedicated his life to building peace and order without in society. During the Warring States period, when China was fractured by chaos and cruelty, a sage named Confuzi, or Confucius, proposed a blueprint for an ideal state founded not on force, but on morality. Confucius was a social engineer and architect of harmony. His teaching, Confucianism, is not a philosophy for hermits, but a practical guide for managing a family, a community, and a state. At its core lie simple yet powerful ideas: respect for elders, reverence for ancestors, the importance of education, and above all, the principle of Ren, humaneness. He taught that a ruler must be an example of virtue, and that officials should hold their posts not by right of birth, but by their knowledge and talents. His genius was manifested in his creation of a kind of operating system for Chinese civilization, one that functioned so reliably for more than 2 millennia. The system of civil service examinations, the hierarchy of family relationships, the cult of knowledge. All this became the foundation upon which one of the world's greatest cultures was built. Confucius did not promise a paradise in the heavens. He proposed to build one on earth through order, education, and humanity. Alexander the Great, the genius who changed the map of the world. A man whose name has become synonymous with the word conqueror. But the genius of Alexander the Great was far more complex than mere military talent. He was a genius of strategy, logistics, and, most astoundingly, cultural synthesis. In little more than a decade, he crushed the mighty Persian Empire, creating a state that stretched from Greece to India. His military genius was revolutionary. He perfected the hammer and anvil tactic, where his unbreakable phalanx, the anvil, would fix the enemy in place, while his heavy cavalry, the hammer, delivered a devastating blow to the rear. He was a master of combined arms, using all types of troops in perfect synchronization. His campaigns were a miracle of logistics. He led vast armies across deserts and mountains, always outmaneuvering the enemy. But his true legacy lies not in his victories, but in what followed them. Alexander did not just conquer, he built. He founded dozens of cities named after himself, which became centers of science and commerce. He encouraged the fusion of Greek and Eastern cultures, giving rise to a unique phenomenon, Hellenism. Thanks to him, the Greek language, philosophy, and science spread throughout the known world, creating a cultural space that Rome would later inherit and upon which all of Western civilization would grow. He was a force of nature that swept away the old world, and on its ruins laid the foundation for a new one. Archimedes, the ultimate genius who mastered reality. And finally, first place, a man whose mind seemed to be 2,000 years ahead of its time. While other geniuses shaped souls, societies, or empires, Archimedes of Syracuse shaped physical reality itself. He was a universal genius, combining the skills of a theorist, engineer, mathematician, and inventor. His discoveries became the bedrock of physics and engineering. Everyone knows the legend of his cry, "Eureka!" When, sitting in a bath, he discovered the law of hydrostatics, Archimedes' principle. This principle, explaining why ships float rather than sink, is just the tip of the iceberg. His famous phrase, "Give me a place to stand and I will move the earth," was not a boast, but an accurate description of the law of the lever, the basis of all mechanics. He invented the Archimedes screw, a brilliantly simple device for lifting water that was used for centuries to irrigate fields and drain mines. When his native Syracuse was threatened by the Romans, his peaceful genius turned to military matters. According to legends, he built giant catapults, the claw of Archimedes, an enormous crane that would seize and capsize enemy ships, and even a system of mirrors capable of setting the enemy fleet on fire with concentrated sunlight. He turned science into an impregnable wall protecting his city. But even that is not all. In the field of pure mathematics, he came to the brink of creating integral calculus, a method that would only be fully developed in the 17th century by Newton and Leibniz. He calculated the value of the number pi with astonishing accuracy. Why is Archimedes in first place? Because he, more than anyone else, embodied the perfect synthesis of abstract thought and its practical application. Alexander conquered the world, Confucius ordered it, Buddha renounced it, and Hipparchus measured it. But Archimedes gave humanity the tools to change, build, and defend this world. His legacy is not in texts or in borders on a map. It is in every bridge, every ship, every mechanism that serves humanity. He was the one who showed that the laws of the universe could not only be understood, but also be put to work for our benefit. He was the true titan of the Iron Age. These 5 figures, separated by geography and goals, pursued a common destiny: to push the boundaries of human potential. They brought order to the chaotic tapestry of the stars, gave structure to a volatile society, and subjected the laws of the physical world to logic. They forged paths not across land or sea, but through the unexplored territories of the spirit, governance, and rational thought. Their legacy is not merely the sum of their discoveries. It is the fundamental code upon which the program of modern civilization is written. They prove that true power over the world lies not in the possession of iron, but in the ability to subdue chaos with the force of structured thought.